Falcons are still kind of all the rage with the falconry people. My big challenge here in Southern California is keeping them from overheating. You know, they're an Arctic bird, and they're basically non-migratory. So in the middle of the winter, they're up in the Arctic. As long as there's prey base for them, as long as they have enough to survive on, they don't have to escape cold. So keeping them here in a warmer climate is kind of the challenge, which is one of the reasons why I'm currently working with him, which has a little bit of Middle Eastern Saker in him, which should increase his ability to tolerate hot weather.
Okay.
Hot's a challenge. But
what type of, is there a lot of food for them where they would normally be in the wild?
Yeah, so one of the main prey base is Arctic hare, which are a large jackrabbit of the north. Lemmings are a big deal in the years when their population spike. They're very cyclical, so lemmings will go through these low swings and then they'll go through peaks. And when the lemmings are peaking, they're a primary source for gerfalcons. A lot of water birds, including ducks and shorebirds, wind up on the menu. And probably the classic bird of the gerfalcon diet is the ptarmigan. So the grouse that we would find up in the north in the Arctic, they fly them down. And you know, whereas peregrines are birds that will attack from above,
right?
Typically, gerfalcons are birds that will just motor you down. In the Arctic, you have wide open landscape.
Right.
So it may take them a mile, it may take them 5 miles, but eventually, no problem. Eventually, they're going to motor that bird down and just overhaul it and run it to sheer exhaustion if need be. And eventually, they're going to catch it. That's kind of their mode of operandi. Hi. Oh, yeah. How are you today? This is Sammy. She's not quite sure if she thinks that's okay or not.
She's not quite sure.
Raptor world, the females are about a third larger than the males. So as big as he is, his sister would just dwarf him. But if we were to compare this raptor to the great horned owl, you know, he would dwarf a female great horn. So he's a big boy. These are on the grass, good. So these guys are nocturnal predators. So they're doing their hunting at night, which would explain those enormous eyes.
Right.
So he has the ability to dilate that pupil at night. That orange iris is gone. It's all black orb.
Wow.
So he's got good night vision. He has the ability to collect sounds very well. The shape of the face on an owl is usually much flatter than that of a hawk. So it's not very aerodynamic, but it's a better collector of sound waves. So the owl is probably equally listening for their next meal as they are watching for their next meal. And when they're flying, when they're hunting, they're not so much interested in pursuit as ambush. So the animals that are being pursued or ambushed, you know, often they don't see the owl coming in the darkness. Owls have the ability to fly in silence. So they don't typically hear the owl coming in. I'll give you a 1, 2, 3 count. We'll go. You ready?
Yep.
1, 2, and 3.
Ooh, look at that.
Wow.
Yeah, so these aren't like super fast birds, but again, they don't want to chase their prey. They want to surprise it and catch it off guard. But these are gnarly predators. I don't know if you've seen these talons.
Yeah.
Those are
So
huge.
this is serious.
That is very serious.
Serious weaponry, and their foot strength is really quite formidable. You can appreciate the jaws of a dog. They've got a strong bite. Pound for pound, the feet on this bird are stronger than the jaws of a similarly weighted dog. Very powerful grasping feet. Once they hook onto something, you know, these things hook in, and they're not easily removed unless the owl releases.
Wow. Look at how great he stands. Oh my goodness.
And here in North America, you may have heard stories about the great horned owls killing small dogs and cats. Oh, it's true. Yeah, I call them flying tigers. Raccoons, possums, porcupines, as well as the mice and rabbits. And, you know, so they kill a whole variety of organisms, including other raptors, including other owls. Yeah. So
Wow.
As a practicing falconer, one of the things that I really want to avoid are having my birds out at night exposed to owls. I've had a lot of people that I've known and people that I've heard about that have lost their falcons or hawks to owls. We at one time tried to reintroduce peregrine falcons after the DDT thing. One of the biggest impediments we ran into were the owls that were killing them. You know, we'd put them out on the cliffs and the owls would come in and catch them and eat them and say, bring us more. They're notorious raptor killers. But you know, they're very beneficial in their own respects. And there's other kinds of owls that do other things. Barn owls in our neighborhoods, they're fantastic. They really help weed out that rodent population, which is always a kind of a handy thing to have on hand.
For sure.
Yeah.